You want to use some open source data. You've checked that the data provider has publicized some open source symbols as part of the data availability. Can you go ahead and use the data without further worry, or are there some things that you need to think about first? In this episode, Anna Sharpe will give you some key pointers on using open source data.
The most important issue is to check what that symbol actually means, because each of those four main areas carry with it a different layer or a different spectrum of legal rights. In terms of attribution, the symbol means that whenever you're using the open source material, you need to attribute or give credit for the original author of the materials. Share alike, as its name implies, you need to make available the materials that are based on Creative Commons or open source materials equally available. Non-commercial, research and development's fine, but making money out of future licensing of the materials is not fine. No derivatives, it means don't distribute modified versions of this open source material. A lot of these materials, these open source materials, are intellectual property. They're copyright works that are covered by some form of legal protection, legal rights protection. There's a basic rule of copyright law is that I have, as a copyright owner, I've got the exclusive right to do things. But I can unshackle some of those rights to others. But I can say to them, you are licensed to do what I'm otherwise exclusively able to do, but on these terms. So what happens then is if the licensee steps outside the scope of those licenses, they're in breach of copyright. And there are a lot of severe penalties for infringement of copyright, including an account of profits. The key point here is that one cannot treat the bundle of rights existing in some derivative materials, so works based on open source materials, as being absolutely owned by the derivative maker. So the rights are probably a layer of rights. There's the pre-existing open source materials, and then there's derivatives based on that. Whilst the derivatives maker might own the legal rights in the whole, they can't claim absolute ownership of underlying or pre-existing works. So the use of open source materials is marvellous in terms of fostering innovation and development. It also comes with the condition that when the derivative work is being commercialised, the commercialiser can't say that there are no third-party interests involved.